The FBI has said it is now offering a £4 million reward for the woman accused of being behind one of the world's biggest cryptocurrency fraud cases. Bulgarian-born Ruja Ignatova, nicknamed the Crypto Queen, is wanted in relation to the OneCoin scam, which is believed to have taken more than £3 billion from investors. Let's discuss this with Joseph Kotrie-Monson, director of Mary Monson Solicitors on Fleet Street, also an expert in cyber fraud. Can you tell everybody, Joseph, who Ruja Ignatova actually is? What do we know about her?
Well, good evening, Steve, and of course to the listeners. Ruja Ignatova, the Crypto Queen. One of the worst financial criminals of our modern era, and it's surprising that we don't, in our popular consciousness, know more about her. The architect of the OneCoin scam, I think we can say that with confidence. It was supposed to be an unusual cryptocurrency, one in which non-specialists, non-technical people were invited to become part of this family. Words like love were used. They didn't need to know about the technology because it was their togetherness and their community that made the coin powerful. One problem, Steve: there was no crypto technology behind any of it. In fact, it was on a Ponzi on an incredible scale, and tens of thousands of investors, not rich people, not financial institutions like the ones who diced with Bernie Madoff thinking they could put one over on him despite the fact that they suspected he was a fraudster. These were moms and pops. These were people who invested their life savings, and perhaps most tragically, they encouraged others. This cult, and it was a cult, multi-level marketing at its very worst. People were brainwashed into encouraging friends and family, and also brainwashed into describing anybody who was negative or skeptical as simply a naysayer. You know, a negative person. She's been missing now since 2017. It's amazing that she's been missing that long and not discovered. I think the FBI have had enough, and that's why we see this epic bounty now on her head.
Yeah, does this smack of the FBI's last resort, because they have no clue where she is. £4 million reward. Huge.
It's absolutely amazing. I think one thing that surprised me reading up about the story recently was that the previous bounty was only $100,000. What were they thinking? This is more appropriate. I mean, it still only represents probably 0.1% of the money that she stole, and by Jove, she stole it. There are rumours of her murder. I'm sceptical about that. I think she'd be the first beneficiary of anyone who believed those rumours. There have been alleged sightings in Germany, across Europe, and yes, the FBI are treating this very seriously. When somebody like this, who has stolen so viciously and calculatingly from so many people, is not apprehended, and you know, I'm a defence lawyer. You know, my job is against police and law enforcement professionally in my role as a defence lawyer in these types of cases. But when somebody is at large for this period of time, it undermines our sense of law and order in the first place. If somebody like this can be walking the streets, albeit with the plastic surgery that we're told that she has and her armed detail and all of that, if that can be happening, what does that say about the extent to which this type of thing is institutionally accepted? It's not a question in my mind whether £4 million is too much. It's a question of why so long for this to be treated publicly with this level of seriousness.
And finally, Joseph, I'm just intrigued because surely it can't just have been Ruja that created this whole OneCoin scam. There must have been other people. Has anybody been charged in relation to this?
Yeah, they've managed to get money launderers, and this is always the way in my type of work. What happens is the people, some of whom are guilty and some of whom are kind of suckered and trust their boss. We saw it in the Sam Bankman-Fried case. They got the guilty pleas from the people who assisted him, and some of them might not really have been aware of the depth of depravity of the offending itself and the level of dishonesty, but were nevertheless guilty. And we see those types of convictions in this case. Make no mistake, however, Steve, the motherlode is the principal would-be defendant, Ignatova herself. I hope she'll be apprehended, not as a lawyer, but as a citizen, and I hope she faces justice.
Joseph, great to talk to you. That is Joseph Kotrie-Monson, director of Monson Solicitors on Fleet Street, also an expert in cyber fraud. It is 7:52.